Hey, sequel lovers, Doug here. Before we start, another re-release. This week is our review of Mad Max 2, or The Road Warrior, which was such a blast to review. This was pretty significant for us because the pandemic just started, and this was the first one. Me and Jamie always recorded over video when we didn't record in person, which was only like a handful of times. But this is the first one that we went in knowing we were releasing it on YouTube for a video component and doing like a video promo. So this one was a lot of fun. And my son, an update on my son Jack. He now should be home soon. Fingers crossed. Cross your toes. Unless you're driving, I guess you can still kind of do it. Just be safe about whatever you're crossing. But yeah, so hopefully he's home soon. So no matter what, just so we can get settled back in, we're going to do one more re-release. So it's going to be Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master. So that was a blast because for it, I got to chat with, one of the best final girls in history, in my opinion, Alice Johnson, played by the amazing Lisa Wilcox. She was cool. So, and our review was a blast for that one too. It was in pandemic. I did Freddy slashes all over my shirt. But yeah, so you have to look forward to that one. And then me and Jamie will be back. So many great sequels. And I appreciate you guys sticking with us through this. Hopefully these are ones you never heard before. Or you said, you know what, that was pretty funny. I'm happy that they put that one back out. Or the interviews wise, especially last week with the re-release of Vernon Wells, legendary bad guy. Thank God that they put him in front of the camera. Some directors said this guy, because without that, we would never have gotten Bennett or Wes or so many other characters. Man, Power Rangers. He was so great and so much over the years. But I'm going to shut up. It's going to lead in very smoothly to our old theme music and me talking and Jamie talking. Mad Max 2 not Beyond Thunderdome. I want to cover that one. But no, The Road Warrior. Thank you, sequel lovers. Enjoy. We are back, and this is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor, someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. I'm so excited about talking about this week's movie, but I really hope you enjoyed that insight from last week's interview with Vernon Wells, talking about how he landed the gig as Wes in Mad Max 2, this week's film. But before we get into this dystopian future that is so unbelievable, I have to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Doug. Awesome.
Good. How do you think, obviously, if you're watching this on video, you could see me if you're listening to it. I am dressed like one of my, probably the easiest character to dress as in the movie. Not my favorite character, but the mechanic. I even got an earring.
You know what? For a second, I didn't think you were here. I thought the mechanic was there. So pretty good.
And the mechanic, one thing I just have to say now, because just in case I forget, I thought he was a paraplegic because he was on that harness for like most of the movie, and then he's walking.
Yeah. It's first of all, I don't think anyone outside of Wes and Max, I don't think anyone has names. Does anyone have names in the movie?
Well, they do, and I meant to print that out, but they had names that just basically were what we would call people anyway. Like the tall guy that I wrote down, he's Gyroscope, because that's the name of, like, his helicopter.
Well, and then you obviously have Humongous, because that was, pretty creative.
Lord Humongous. Max, Feral Kid.
Okay. Yeah, but see, now, do they mention his name, like Feral Kid, in the movie? So I'm saying that in the movie, no names are mentioned. It's all just like...
Well, they're not real names, but they call them, like, something that's not descriptive. Like, just description, like, Woman Warrior. Who, by the way, before we get into this, Smoke Show.
Oh, and has she done anything else? Because I tried.
Her up.
So did I. I couldn't find anything. I don't know how she didn't, because she was awesome. She
looked like someone else. That's why when I saw her, I'm like, I've seen her before, but I just haven't.
Yeah. No, she looked like she could have been like a Charlie's Angel or something. Like she was, she was hot. Now, I don't know a lot about scripts or how many pages a script should be, but I can't imagine this being more than like 3 pages. The whole movie. I mean, first of all, there's very little dialogue.
There's not. Honestly, the last 20 minutes of the movie, nobody talks.
But even in the beginning, I mean, I think the music is awesome. Like the music is what makes the movie, but there's really no dialogue. There's no names to anybody. And there's really just like one plot, just trying to get gas. Like there's nothing outside of that. Like I think whoever wrote the script probably didn't get paid a lot.
Did you see who did the music for this movie?
I did not.
Okay, so 2 movies ago, we were graced with the amazing guitarist, Jimmy Page. This movie, Brian fucking May of Queen.
I don't know if it's no. You know what? Now you say that, so I don't know if it's the same guy.
Oh damn!
No, because I read something that they have the same name, and this was filmed in Australia, and they thought the reviewer thought it was also Brian May, but it wasn't. So, but for cool sakes, let's just say it was.
Yeah. Other Brian May, if you're listening, you're okay too. So one thing, what I love? I love when there's like a little bit of drag out before the title card. Again, right away, we just see it. I think there's nothing is even happening. It just says Mad Max 2 right away.
Yeah. And, another, like I said, trivia that I didn't realize until later on. So there's Mad Max. Then they made Mad Max 2, but they called it The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's the same movie.
Yeah.
Because so why did they change Road Warrior? Because if you look at some sites, it actually just says Road Warrior. Then sometimes it'll say Road Warrior Mad Max 2, and sometimes it says just Mad Max 2.
Oh, I don't know. That's weird.
But it's the same movie.
Maybe they just had to use different names for different countries for some reason. But how about the third one? Have you seen the third one?
A long time ago. Oh. I just know there's Tina Turner, and there's like a cage or something when they fight in or something.
It's called the Thunderdome. And before they start fighting, she looks around. She goes, 2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Okay.
Dude, if we can get somebody from that one.
Well, supposedly part 2 is the best one.
Oh, dude. Okay. Rotten Tomatoes. Did you see the Rotten Tomatoes score?
No.
93%. So you're telling me this is 83 points higher than Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Well, I don't think there was a script in Weekend at Bernie's 2 either, so it's a good possibility, But this had better music, so listen, you know what? I remember vaguely the first Road Warrior. Mad Max. I remember it being a little slower. Obviously a lower budget because I think Mel Gibson was like 22 at the time. The first movie. But I don't know what the budget is this one, but they had to up it compared to the first movie.
It was $4 million and it made 36.
That's awesome.
Dude, so I don't remember the first one. I'm sure I've seen it. But the beginning of this movie, that montage with his wife and his baby, and his wife gets decapitated.
Yeah, they show you clips from the first, which was cool because, again, if you haven't seen it or you haven't seen it in a long time, it kind of gives you an idea of Max. Because he's obviously a legendary kind of character, So, yeah, that was very cool. And then you had the narrator, which I need to get into later. We'll get into it later on.
Wait, who was the narrator?
The kid.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, you felt like the actor?
I thought it was going to be somebody famous.
No, but the narrator sounded like a Harvard scholar, like a professor. And we'll get into the kid, but the kid doesn't he grunts the whole movie. He's like from Land of the Lost. He looked like one of the what are they called? I forget what they're called.
What's their buddy? Taka.
Okay, that's what he looked like. But somehow he sounds like a scholar from Harvard later on as he gets older, which,
Oh my God. So one thing I love about this movie, there's a lot I love about this movie, but action right away. And we see Vernon Wells as Wes right away. And God, they just don't fuck around, dude. He gets in the arm, he gets shot, and he just like nothing pulls it out. And then just that scream that and that look that he has in this movie.
First of all, now was this made before or after Commando?
Oh, this is his first movie.
Okay, so he looks way bigger here than he does in Commando, and he looks so different. I mean, it just shows you what kind of great actor he is. Because for years, I never knew that was the same guy. Like, he really did an incredible job. But I do have to question 2 things about him in this movie.
What are you going to question? That he can do flips
That's one of them. However, was he this like now the Village People came out in the 70s, right?
Yes.
Because he was wearing the same pants that I think one of the singers in the Village, the assless chaps.
Oh, the biker, yeah.
Yeah. So he was, and was that his mate on his bike?
I didn't see that. I thought, and then later in the movie, he gets put into timeout by Lord Humongous. He has him on the chain and he has him held back, and then he lets him loose and he goes insane. So I don't know what that was.
I think they're just I don't think it was timeout. I think it was just like let's release the dogs and let him, because he was kind of like Lord Humongous sounded very intelligent, compared to everybody else in the movie,
Yeah.
and I Wes is such a wild animal, he really, but the guy that was a guy right on his bike, the blonde hair guy. Okay, so. Was that his, was that his boyfriend?
I don't know. It seemed that. And then now that you're saying this, there's no girls in their gang at all.
No.
The girls are all in the other. So that's kind of weird. But maybe they just don't.
That is weird.
Wouldn't they want to procreate so their gang can grow and be around for a while?
Well, maybe they learned, maybe in the future, in the dark future, they're able to have men can have babies.
Maybe they can have babies.
I mean, not for nothing. Chaka, whatever his name is, the feral kid.
Yeah.
That could have been produced from listen, there's a lot of weird looking characters, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's abnormal births in the future.
Who was his mom or dad? No one, right? We didn't know.
They only really showed two women, the older tough one and the hot one. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then they showed the young one that was going to leave with gyroscope.
Okay, she wasn't bad looking either. Okay,
I don't know how old she was, because I'm like, this guy has like brown teeth. He's like drinking all his gasoline and diesel fuel.
She looked like she was probably in her 20s. Okay, but she wasn't good looking. She wasn't bad looking. She was okay, right? He was hideous. So but again, I guess maybe if you're used to seeing the same people over and over again, you welcome fresh meat.
Or she's probably like, you know what? I'm about to get murdered by all these guys that come in. So maybe this is a pretty good exit.
Okay. All right.
So Max, we obviously see Mel Gibson. He's Mad Max. And like this whole thing about getting the gasoline, it is such a wild concept because we don't think that could be a thing. Like right now, they're like paying people to take gas because there's like too much.
But think about when we had like a major snowstorm and the people, I think maybe it was Sandy or something.
Sandy, yeah.
Okay, with Sandy or the floods. People were lining up to get gas then. So I could see that in the future how important it can be. However, I feel like the bad guys waste a lot of gas.
They do.
Because they're constantly driving in circles, going around I feel like they have a surplus of gas somewhere that no one knows about.
Yeah. Well, they do. They definitely do have. They have it. They have to have it somewhere that they have it stored. We never saw like where their lair was because we always saw them just hanging out in the desert. But how about just the way Max has to get everything? He doesn't have like a can. He just like the gas is pouring out of this semi truck that's like flipped over. So he just like putting all these random like Tupperware kind of things, filling it up just to be able to get to his car. But how about the one guy that he dumped over that just coming out of the car, like a fiery car, you see the hand come out and then the one dead body falling out of the semi truck? Dude, that was cool. Just to get into action right away within 5 minutes. So great. And
no dialogue. As soon as the narration was over, there was a good 15 minutes of the movie, like when it really started, no one spoke.
Yeah, Wes probably speaks the most or screams the most.
I would say he growls a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's considered speaking, but yeah, he was awesome.
So then we get to, he has the gas, his dog's name's Dog. I don't know if he had a name for it, but everywhere you look, it's Dog.
But I see him. And what's funny? I watched The Walking Dead and one of the characters got a dog later in the seasons and he called him Dog. So maybe it's something to do with, the future. A future, I guess. I don't know. I guess they do. Well, listen, considering no one else has a name in the movie except for Wes and Max, are you surprised that Dog has Dog?
It'd be great if the dog had like like Professor Buttercup, and he had like a real name, and everybody else just like. But so then they have to go. He's again, he's always looking for. Just thinking about having to do that. Always looking for gas. You need your fuel to keep going. So he sees the little helicopter, which is pretty cool. Just sitting there, he goes up, and his name's Gyroscope Man. I'll call him Tall Guy because that's a mouthful every time. He pops out from underneath the sand, and dude, he has him held captive, and you're like, holy shit.
So was he setting like, because he kind of like was like a snake, and that's what brought Mel Gibson over to grab the snake. So like,
yes.
Was he like, was that a trap to get Mel Gibson? Was that what he was trying to do?
Well, no. Well, we know later in the movie he uses the snakes to protect his fuel.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so Mel Gibson comes by. Obviously he needs the fuel. How long do you think that guy was under the ground? Like, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people in the future. So like, what if he's down there for like a couple of days? Like he's just waiting for someone to come by and just happen to see Mel Mad Max come over.
It's funny. The movie Red Dawn, there's a scene like that sort of. And I remember watching it like not even that long ago, and I was like, God, how long were they waiting there? Like, what if they never came? And you're just like, all right, I'm gonna pop up. It's like playing hide and go seek. You're like, I'm gonna pop out now, and then they're right there. But if you like wait, I don't know. But no, so he has him. He turns the tables on him because Dog saves him. And then
first he goes to which we find out that his gasoline is rigged. So so Max tells him, he goes, you could try to steal it, but you're going to blow up. Like, he has a trap on there. I don't know if the guy really believes him, but then he also has a knife under there.
Yeah.
Like that's what I did like about this movie where, as unrealistic the movie is, there's a lot of realistic aspects of it. Again, like you discussed, where he has to go for the gas. He has to use everything he can to store as much gas as he can. It's not like he's walking around with a gas, can, and he's able, so it's very cool. So even like protecting as scarce as gas is, he's protecting what he has, but so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, he turns the table on him.
Yeah. And that guy, do you remember what movie he was in?
He looks very familiar. I just can't. Was he in the Pirates? Was he in the Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, well, he could be, but he's in one of the movies that we covered. He was one of the tall, dirty Australian guys from Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Oh, with the white bat when they were at the cabin. That was him.
Yeah.
I could see his teeth hasn't changed much because he has the same brown, yellow, spacey teeth that he had, in Mad Max.
And he was as dirty. Same thing.
If not dirtier. So now, so speaking of him, so everybody in this movie has weird, cool outfits. He's running around in long johns and pajamas.
I know. And then I didn't notice that until the end. And it looked like he was wearing
a robe. It
looked like a leather robe.
I don't like, but maybe I feel like he was like that guy that was like kicked out of a gang. Like he was like the lamest one. They didn't want any part of him, and he just tried to tag along the whole time. And just they left him out in the desert because he had nothing. This guy had nothing.
No, he didn't. And honestly, I would have shit my pants because when he was in the back seat and the shotgun was pointed to his face and it was being a string tied to the trigger and the dog held the bone and he just growled at him the whole time. That was, oh my God. What if the dog just sneezes?
Yeah. And the dog looks like a cute dog. Like it's not like a ferocious looking dog, but when it starts growling and attacking, the dog's pretty nasty.
So, oh my God, dude. Lord Humongous. The first time that we see him. So Jason did not don the mask until 1982. This came out in 81. So somebody that watched this said hey, let's give Jason a hockey mask because it looks exactly the same. Not
even just the mask. His head, his bald head,
his hair.
with the little hair here and there, sparse hair. He looks like Jason.
Yeah.
Outside of the guy being Mr. Humongous or Lord Humongous, his whole head is Jason Voorhees.
So if Jason walked around trying to kill people in SMN bondage outfit, like the guy, that's the one thing I would love to know is in the future. Clothes are that sparse, and the only thing that was left was an S&M shop. Honestly, think about what all they're wearing. They're all wearing leather, and leather in the heat. That's like the worst thing.
Yeah. No. Well, I think the Colonel has got to be the hottest. but yeah, I mean, you look at the guy. You have the picture right there of Wes's boyfriend or whatever he is. Look at what he's wearing. He's wearing sleeveless leather with like spikes on it. No, the other way. Yep.
Oh yeah. No, honestly, you got to think of the most ridiculous character. Now that you mentioned it, was definitely the general, because God, everybody else like were wearing like these futuristic things. And I love that everybody wore, like, I know Lord Humongous wore a hockey mask, but even the guy that was the leader of the good guys, I guess we'll call them, he wore like a hockey mask too when he was driving at the end. So I don't know, sporting goods stores and S&M. Well,
I mean, I'm sure at the time, what was the budget? You said $4 million?
$4 million?
And I think it was only filmed in 16 days or something. It was like a short film. The car that Max drives, I was reading, they only made like 60 of them in Australia, like only in Australia. So, but all the outfits, even Gyro, whatever his name is, like, what was he wearing on his head? Was that like a propeller hat? Like, was that
kind of, yeah. He was wearing like an old timey, like, World War II kind of era, and then he had the goggles too.
It's almost like they sent the actors to like a thrift shop and say, "Hey, pick whatever you want to wear." It's like when you see those, like, I think it was Big Daddy. When he tells the kid, "Wear whatever you want to wear," and the kid was wearing all different sorts of things.
Yeah,
that's almost like this. Like, they go there, pick whatever you want. It doesn't matter how ridiculous this is. We're gonna put it in the movie.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the gyroscope guy was that he was wearing that outfit. Obviously, it could fit a lot of things in it, but he was pulling out the binoculars that were like super long, and he was man, he got treated like shit this whole movie. And I get it, because he was trying to like rob Max, so Max like held against him, but he's way too much.
He's kind of a hero at the end.
Oh, he's a hero.
Yeah. So, but again, I think it's because he's probably that annoying guy that wants to be cool with the Wes and the Humongous guys, and he just he's a tag along, so he learns, he gets respect from the other group.
That would have been a great little thing if they would have said, like, "Oh, look who it is, it's that guy that used to always hang out with us, get him." But no, I love that. So Mad Max, he's not the best dog owner. I know there's not enough food in the future, but he's eating most of the dog food. He throws it to dog to eat the rest. And I love that the other guy is waiting for the can, and he pulls out a wooden spoon. He has like everything he needs on him. He's Inspector Gadget.
He doesn't have a home. I mean, like, considering he was in the middle of the desert underground, unless like where he came up from underground, that's like an Oscar the Grouch kind of thing. Maybe he has his own like little tunnels under there. But outside of that, he owns nothing. Yet he has like the coolest plane. Like, helicopter, I mean, that he has, like, which is, I'm surprised he is able to have that and no one else has that.
Think of this right now. So I wrote down that they are the odd couple of the dystopian future. I would see Max as like the Felix Unger, and then Oscar is easily, the guy that walks around with his own spoon.
Maybe they got, did that came out in the 80s or late 70s? That had to be the 80s, right? Odd Couple?
Oh, no. It's 70s.
Oh, 70. Okay.
So maybe that inspired it.
All right.
Never know.
You never know.
So Max, they're sitting there when he looks with his binoculars, and then, tall guy pulls out his like super old school, like pirate ship scope. And they see, I guess they were trying to run for gas.
He knew there was he knew where the gas was.
Yeah. Well, no, I know he knew, tall guy, but they saw those girls and the guy getting chased by Lord Humongous and them.
Right.
Which, God,
yeah.
I know we saw boobs in that scene, but then it got like...
Yeah, but listen, if you're going to see boobs, that's not the kind of boobs you want to see.
No.
But again, it's 80s, right? When it's 81. So 81? I think it was a proclaimer that if you're going to make a movie in the 80s, at some point you got to show boobs.
Yeah. Even if they'll add it in. Just
yeah, they have the boobs at some point, yes. But yeah, that was pretty brutal. I mean, what I thought was pretty cool is when the tall guy was looking, you could see how disgusted he was.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the first time I realized, all right, you know what? He's not really a bad guy, because he didn't like what was going on. This whole time you don't know his character. He's trying to rob, Mad Max, but you realize that he's a good guy. He's still a enigma. Like, you don't know what's his deal.
Yeah, and then Max like takes his shot. He gets in the car and pretty much goes down like it's like a steep cliff, like Dead Man's Ditch. He goes down there and he kills the one guy that's on top of the girl, but she's already dead. And there's one guy left that's there,
barely alive.
And he promises. That's where Max. I get it. You need gas, but when he goes, if I bring you back there, will you give me? Right? Doesn't he even ask for the amount? He's like, give me 5 liters of gas and I'll bring you back.
Listen, it's we're not, it's a different world, man. You got to survive. So you have to, you really, again, you see all these movies, you can't trust anybody. So I get it. I mean, Max is a loner. He's got to get what he got to get.
No, I love when he does get back and he goes to the main guy, which I think that guy's name's like Papa Ganolo. It's something weird. It's like
he looks familiar too, and I looked him up. I didn't really see him anything, but he has that face. He kind of looks like that older guy with a deep voice. He was. You ever see Payback?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, what's his name? He was. Maybe he was in the old like Magnificent Seven. Not like Lee Majors or one of those. Not Lee Majors.
Oh, Lee Majors. Like,
Lee Marvin. Kind of looks like that face, like right?
Yeah, sort of. But so I love when he gets back there and he goes, so I made a deal. I'm going to be out of here. I made a deal with him for 5 liters of gasoline. And then he goes, your deal died with him. And the guy's dead on the ground. You're like, holy shit. And then this is the part because we don't know any of these people at all. And they just start screaming at each other because the one says, hey, we need to get out of here. And then the older woman with like the darker hair who later is kind of nice to Max. But she's screaming. I think that was her son or her husband. So she's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. You don't know what's going on. And then Lord Humongous comes on the microphone. And dude, Well,
Max is also wearing leather, right? As Lord Humongous. So think about it from their point of view. You got this guy dragging one of their own who's dead. You can't trust the guy. He's wearing the same kind of leather as Lord Humongous's group. So I was thinking they didn't trust him and they thought he probably killed them and trying to steal their gas. That's what I thought. So I don't think the deal wasn't going to happen anyway because I think they just didn't trust him right off the bat.
Yeah. So 2 things we kind of mentioned before, but this is when we first see the mechanic, me, and we see Woman Warrior and she looks like, you know what she looks like? Everybody else is dressed. You look at their outfits. It kind of looks like thrift store. Her outfit reminds me of like a stormtrooper or in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, like in the future, like what they were wearing at the school in like that opening scene. Well, it looks exactly like that.
100%. Well, I mean, listen, they had to show her figure. They had to find the tightest thing she possibly could wear. I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing what, Lord Humongous was wearing, put on her, something like that. That might have been a nice, but yeah, they had it, she was the only thing attractive in this dark, ugly person world, because outside of her, pretty much everybody's ugly. It's like, it just, it is what it is.
So I wrote this down because I think we already saw him really quick, feral kid. But when he's running away, because he sees Max when he first gets in there, he's like scaling something and he goes down and he has like a little, like a tail looking thing coming out of his pants. I don't know if it's like a raccoon hat kind of tail, but there's one part he has like a tail. So
this is what I don't understand. Everybody there speaks English.
I know.
So when is it like, it's just so bizarre. Like there's no explanation. There's no explanation like whose parents are, why he just grunts. It just doesn't. And yet he's the best warrior they have.
Yeah, and the fact that he is the narrator. He speaks
clear, like I said, like a professor. So like there's so much. You want to talk about plot holes? Like I mean, that's again, he's just. I don't understand. I really don't get that whole thing, but he was awesome. I mean, to me, he was the toughest one. He was braver than everybody in that whole gang. Of the good guys. He was awesome. And he knows how to use a boomerang pretty well, I think.
You might say plot hole, but I say an M. Night Shyamalan twist. Because who would think that is the friggin' narrator? The kid that grunts and then coos like wolves? How about that part? Oh, no, that happened just before this. So before Max brought the body in, those guys came back. Wes and the gang came back to check out the scene. And Max is able to drag that guy's body into the ditch. And those guys are like right over the hill. And friggin' the kid starts you don't even see him. You just hear like howling. And they're like, oh, we can't go over that way. And the friggin' kid is the one that's doing it. It looks so bad, but it's so funny.
He saved Max multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. But again, yes, I agree. The twist, I totally did not see that coming. But explain something. Explain why he's the only person that I think even Wes sounds more intelligent than this kid. Like, kid, so it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
No, I know. And then even at this point, so when Lord Humongous is outside in the like with everyone, they have a couple more of the people still hostage, like tied into the
on the truck
for the rest of the movie.
That's pretty cool.
One of them's on there for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So it was a great guy too, and I wish I could have like dressed up like him, but I don't think he's even on here. Toady, the MC, the rock and roller of the Ayatollah.
He looks familiar too. Like he looks like an old school like comedian kind of thing. Because I forget his name, but he looks very familiar. But yeah, he was great. He was another one that was
But he was kind of dumb. He tried to catch a metal boomerang that just went through someone's head. So Feral Kid comes out right away.
Yes. Yeah, right
away. Throws it. Wes ducks. It goes into Wes's quote unquote boyfriend's head. And he bleeds out. He's dead.
Did the fingers go first or
No, fingers are afterwards. No, fingers were after Wes threw it. Remember
okay.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. He threw it. The kid ducked, and it was like, shoo, shoo.
Yeah.
And then Toad jumps up, and I love the zoom in and all of his fingers.
That was pretty cool though. That was pretty cool. I mean, that was. But he didn't seem like it hurt that much. Like he didn't scream or anything. He was just like like he was numb to it.
And then he just when he goes ballistic in this movie, obviously this is a movie he did 40 years ago. So it's not like when I asked him to do some of the commando lines, which was like, I had to do, like, I could not like live with myself and be like, oh, you know what? I never asked Bennett to say his favorite commando line, but like to ask him to do these lines, he couldn't do it because the neighbors would probably be called because he has to like scream. He goes, we go in and we kill him. And he just goes absolutely fucking crazy.
Yeah, the rest of the movie, he's just insane. He's just, he's hunger.
So Lord Humongous, he says, walk away 7 times. Just leave the gas and walk away. Well, you don't think he would sound like that, right?
No, well, he must have some kind. Maybe he has like one of those tracheotomies. And, listen, you don't know. I wonder. Listen, as big as Wes is, Lord Humongous would wreck him.
Oh, I know.
Lord, I mean, he's huge. Do you think the feral kid is the love child of Lord Humongous and Wes in the future?
Now, I was thinking now is going to be a twist to mention who this kid's parent was. Because we'll obviously go back to this, but later in the movie when they're like, oh, we got to leave. Like people are trying to grab him, but there's no like person that he's gravitating towards. So he almost seems like he showed up one day. Even if they threw in like exposition like that randomly, just like, yeah, he showed up here 4 years ago. Didn't speak
nothing. Where's his training? The kid's like 8 years old. I mean, he's not even like a teenager. He looks like he's younger than 10. So
yeah, dude, he's like 6 or 7.
That's what I say. So he's a young kid who has incredible training. And doesn't speak at all. One word of English. Yeah, it's just weird.
And then Max was nice enough to give him a music box that was like Pop Goes the Weasel, and he was like so fascinated because he's never been a kid.
Yeah,
he's out here throwing deadly What? Now I know why he doesn't have a parent. Because if you're a parent, why the hell would you let your kid throw around a metal razor sharp boomerang?
Well, maybe he killed his parents. Like his father goes, "Hey, you want to try the new boomerang out?" And there you go.
All right, feral kid. Just make sure you tell Dad when you throw it. Oof. Cuts his head right off.
And he lives underground.
Yeah.
So again, is he part animal? Like, I mean, like that's like he doesn't live in like as everybody else. He lives underground, doesn't speak English, and his hair looks like Peggy Bundy.
Yes. So how about when they convince him to go get the truck in order to leave? He goes, I know there's a semi. I can help you get the gas out of here. So he carries, it was like a Stallone training montage. Like that's like one of the deleted training scenes from Rocky IV. He is carrying them on a stick, 5 liters of gas, which would he need 5 liters to get back? I don't think it was that far. He walked that far.
Yeah. Well, I think the funny part was the fact that when he sees Gyro and he makes him carry it the rest of the way. And the poor guy, he probably weighs like 140 pounds soaking wet. He's a skinny guy. But hey, listen, it's like his own little pet. Just like Wes had one.
Yes. No, he was like trying to get away. He was so tired because he was so hungry and thirsty. And he just saw his trail and he caught up with him. And then he had a gun on him. And the bullet that he had was a dud, which happens a lot of times.
And he was warned about. I think Tall Guy told him it's probably a dud. So, yeah. Well, I don't think Max is really, as smart as he is with some of his contraption stuff, I don't think he has a lot of common sense.
No, not at all. No, he seems like just all business. He can like do grunt work. But when it comes to like using his brain, it's not that good because he screws up
a lot.
Loses his life because of the mistake that he makes. So then they finally get back to the gyroscopes place. And he's so excited because there's a car there and there's a dead body and his snake. And then oh my God, dude. So this dog, I know you said the dog was probably, it looked nice.
Yeah.
That dog, they must have like put something on him so the dog would like nip at him. But dude, that time the dog almost caught him so good when they were trying to both grab the fake snake.
Yep. No, the dog was like, again, very cute, but like ferocious, man. It was like, but I preferred that. Like, it would be if Mad Max had, a Rottweiler, you're going to expect the dog to be this, crazy animal. But like when you see like, you don't expect him to act like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, it was good. I love when Max is like rummaging through the guy's stuff. The one thing that just like, I can't stop thinking about is why would he have one large die? One dice supersized in its own compartment on his like utility belt. All the other shit, shit. He had some shotgun shells, but that was like so bizarre that he had that. My earring just fell.
Again, I think they just went to the thrift store and they said, "Hey, listen, add whatever you can and do it." It doesn't have to make sense because the movie's not going to make a lot of sense. So
that's great. All right, so now. Right after that, they take the copter in order to get to the semi as like quick as possible. So they load all the gas in, they go there. And this was, didn't they catch him again right now? Yeah, it was.
Well, this is with the is this a dog scene?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet. Oh.
Okay.
No. This is when they go to the semi because he was talking about getting the tanker for him. So he's filling it up. And then Wes starts seeing them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. That is such an awesome scene.
This is when he follows him back, right? Isn't this? Because isn't this when he gets chased out of their area? Wes goes to the good guys.
Yeah, this is when Wes follows them in. Remember, he's trying to get the truck back?
Yeah.
So this is when he's driving the truck and he has to go through those guys. So Wes goes nuts. And remember the one guy was working on the car? They showed it like for a little bit, like, and you're like, why would they show us that guy? And then like a minute later, the car gets knocked over and obviously it wasn't him, but he gets squished. But dude, Wes goes absolutely crazy. And how about, dude, tall guy in the helicopter dropping friggin' snakes on people, and the one bites the guy that's getting ready to shoot Max.
Yeah,
That's the first time he saves him.
No, that was awesome. And the one thing I noticed in this movie with a lot of the chases, did you notice that it's almost like they had a speed limit. They couldn't go too fast, so what they did was they fast forwarded the camera, like the film. Yeah. It looked ridiculous. It almost looked like a Benny Hill kind of like fast forward part. A lot of the chase scenes. And now gas is so sparse, but somehow they have nitrous, like nitro gas.
Dude, that was crazy.
But where did they get that from?
I don't know where they would get it. But it seems like it was very rare because they saved it for an occasion, and it almost like shocked him like later, but
All right.
we'll get to that.
All right.
So another like kind of callback. I know obviously you said it wasn't really Brian May, but we're gonna say it is. But how about Lord Humongous's gun? Did that remind you of Widely?
Wiley?
Widely.
Oh, I think you said Wiley.
No. Wildy. Well,
Wildy.
It's Wildy from Death Wish 3. Paul Kersey's gun. Dude, it didn't, obviously it wasn't the same gun, but dude, it had the red velvet on the inside, and it was a weird looking gun because it had like a revolver. He was loading the bullets in, and it had like this super long scope on it. And dude, he sucked with that gun because I don't think he hit one person.
No, but it goes through cars. Like it's powerful. But yeah, I mean, when you said it's Wiley, I'm thinking of Wile E. Coyote because somehow that name comes up every podcast.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, I wonder. Like again, I wonder if was that a real type of gun? Like I mean, like Wildy was. Like was it or did they like? I mean, I don't know anything.
It looked like it could be good. It looked just like a gun with a scope on it, but. So here's a character that should be on this behind me. How about the guy that we never saw until he died? The guy in the pink car. So Max gets into the fortress. They're trying to close it up, and I love that because they have the refinery. Yep. They have all the gas, and they have the freaking flamethrower right at the gate to keep the guys back, which is so cool. But the one guy has like a pink beard, pink hair, and he's in like a pink car. It's like Pink Ladies from Greece, and he gets lit up. He dies right away. But dude, Wes inside of the fortress is just beautiful. He's
running, climbing, jumping everywhere. He's just like a one-man army, man. That was to me, honestly, I think it was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Oh hell yeah! When he jumps over the one guy and then gives him a lethal headbutt.
The flip he does is ridiculous. Like, oh yeah.
Like 15 feet in the air. But he looks at Max and he says, you can run, but you can't hide. And then that's when he like does that flip. Oh my God, dude. It's so unbelievable how crazy. And that's why what's mind blowing to me is there's all these guys that are helping Max. Max has to know that I know he is a loner, but he's not that good at what he really does. So within hours, he goes, I want to get out of here. I want to leave. It's like, why would you want to do that? Well, you have these people that can help you. They have weapons. He has bullets that don't work.
Yeah, well, he's just a man on his own mission. He's just, okay, so I don't remember the first movie. Is it a continuation where is he trying to find his family's killers? Like, I don't know, I don't remember how they died in the first movie or, his story, but is that what his main, you're losing something over there.
Yeah, my Necker chief. No, I don't remember if that's what it would be, but I would think he would just want to try to kill everyone. But no, maybe his trying to, but he never mentions it. We see that. Well, there's not a lot of mentioning it.
I would say the plot is gas. That's all the plot is. There's nothing else. There's just moving gas from one place to another.
The one Lord Humongous line that I love is when he says, I promise you, nobody gets out of here alive. And then that montage of them torturing the people that were on the front of all the cars.
Yep.
Whew. That was like, holy shit, dude. And then the next thing after that, it's funny. Obviously these things don't happen right away, but in the notes, it's that. And then tall guys being a creeper to a girl that looks young.
But there was interest there when he said,
I know.
But again, if you look at it's pretty slim pickings in a whole crew, so, and they all seem old for the most part.
They are. No, they are.
Right. So, he's kind of
one kid out of anything.
Well,
there's one kid. And
he's not really a kid. Yeah.
Part animal. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's what it is. I mean, she's like fresh meat. Plus, he's tall and lanky. And a lot of times they say tall and lanky guys,
What?
Are tall.
Oh, okay. What do you think? She's sick and tired of the general?
Okay, can we speak about the general now? I absolutely.
Can we talk about that? He reminds now that his name's the general. It's like the auto insurance guy that he walks around in that hat the whole movie.
The general. He also reminds me of, and I don't know if you remember this show. I mean, it was in the 70s called Soap with Billy Crystal and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was the father that I think he had Alzheimer's, but he always wore the suit and everything else.
Oh,
and
that's great.
And this guy, obviously his mind's not there. He's older. He wants to go to sunny place. He's showing like Max a brochure of where they're going
with naked women on it. That was the weirdest thing. I rewound it and paused for research for the podcast. Of course.
What kind of research?
I take this seriously, so I want to make sure that if I said, "Hey, she's nude," somebody doesn't watch this or listen to it, and they're like, "Hey, Doug, you're a fucking phony because she was not nude."
So you're taking care of the audience.
Taking care of the audience, and maybe myself later. I don't know. No,
Weird.
but I went back and paused it, and I was like, "Oh my god, what kind of brochure?" It looked like Florida. It was so bizarre that he had it, and it wasn't like faded. And they seem like they've been in these tough times for a long time now because nothing is new to them.
Nothing's new, and he's trying to tempt Max to go with them. And he goes, "Oh, it's sunny places. They're in the middle of the desert. They're surrounded by sun all the time. I think the last thing you want to go to is another sunny place."
I know.
You know?
And it's 2,000 miles away. Do they have enough gas for that? Because I don't know. We'll get into that whole part. But so the general and the leader of the good guys are trying to convince Max to stay to drive the tanker. And he's just like not biting. He actually punches the one guy because they want Max. Again, I don't know why they would want him. I get it. They've seen him drive like a couple times, but would you want a guy that you think would maybe, if you don't trust him before, that he might just take it and go?
Yeah, I think at this point they haven't seen anyone step up to those guys the way he has.
Yeah,
too. So it's it's probably obviously it's a dangerous job to be driving that truck. So they figured, you know what? Why waste one of our own? Let's just throw someone in there we don't know.
He's the general. He's old.
Lived a long life. It's all right.
So the feral kid he's trying to do whatever he can without saying words, obviously, to like convince Max to stay. And then he tries to go with him because he hides in his I don't know, he hid in a car door.
I think the kid just wants to leave that place so bad.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it was convincing Max to stay. I think it's convincing Max to take me with you.
Yeah. He's like, they're not teaching me anything here. Nothing. Because there's no other kids at all. How is there not accidentally another kid?
Yeah.
Unless they're all related.
It's possible.
I don't know.
Maybe this was the origin of Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, maybe. Sounds good.
Just saying.
So he leaves. This is the part we were kind of talking about before. So Max leaves. He goes out. And, dude, you think, again, these guys are just waiting. They have no lair. I don't think they have anywhere to go either, the bad guys. They just hang out in the desert, and they're just waiting there. And then Max just, again, like you said, the fast forward in the driving, which kind of a little like, not old, but it was just like, okay. And then the aerial shots. But then, dude, when Wes hit that nos and tapped him in the rear, when he dumped over, did you expect that?
No.
I did not remember that at all, that he was like that torn up for the rest of the movie.
Well, again, I think even like with the good guys, like you said, they don't show any home. They don't show home at all. And, so I get what they're trying to do with this movie, but they leave so many holes. They just seem like, well, you don't understand what's going on. Like where are they coming from? Why did they have all this gas? Again, the bad guys are constantly driving around. They don't seem to be scourging for gas. So that doesn't make sense. And
electric.
Electric. And they're negotiating with the good guys.
Yeah.
Why don't they just overtake it?
I know. That's like another thing that I thought they were going to do that earlier. Obviously, they were in there. Wes was in there. He was able to escape after he headbutted the guy, and they were like shooting the flamethrower at him, and it just never. I know.
So I don't know what the bad guys' purpose. Like, what are they looking for? Like, I don't think because they weren't looking for that. Were they looking for the gas to begin with, or they were just?
No, they were looking for the gas. So that's what we don't know. They didn't say anything about like, oh, they didn't, again, no exposition about anything that happened before this. Because couldn't they have just said a quick line like, yeah, these guys have been hassling us for the last 2 months. They've come from Eastern and they've been, I don't know, pillaging everybody or something. They were just like, these guys are here. Like, there's nothing to know. Yeah, like, I know. Hey, these guys have tried to storm our place before, but we stopped them.
I wonder if any of these bad guys were in the first movie. Like, is this like again, I don't know much about the first movie, so I don't, I don't know. I don't know.
Because I would have remembered Lord Humongous, and like the only other people that really had big lines were like Toady.
Right.
Wes, we know, wasn't in the first one. And then how about that there was like 3 or 4 guys in their gang that looked like kind of like Village People cops.
They really, outside of the 2 guys, they really didn't look like a ferocious gang. No. So I mean, they almost like, I almost feel like the greasy guys in the Warriors.
Yeah.
That's what they kind of look like. They were just like a lame, like really. I mean, again, wearing chaps and wearing leather, and like I think those are guys that they thought they were really tough, but they really just kind of lame. They were like a lame gang.
And they were kind of dumb too, because obviously it comes back from earlier when he talked about like, hey, this switch will make my, if somebody gets too close. Because that scene, dude, when they go down there, the cop-looking guy, the Village People cop-looking guy, and Toady goes down there. Wes stays up. The car, we'll talk about this in a second.
Yeah.
So he barely gets out of the car, Max, and the dog like kind of helps him out. So he's hiding behind a rock. The dog is like sitting on the rock. And the cop goes down there and he points a gun, and
I didn't expect it to happen. I thought somehow like the dog would move out of the way, or you thought that the dog was going to, but I didn't. When you hear that little, you're like, oh no.
I was heartbroken when I heard that.
It was. Listen, any movie, an animal dies, it's tough.
And then the fact that Toady is getting close to the car, we see the thing starts to like beep a little bit, and then the guy's getting ready to kill Max. Explosion happens. How much gas did he have in his car? Unless they filled him up there to leave. Oh, well, they did.
They did. That was part of the deal.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, because he's like, why would you? Oh, yeah, because this one guy, remember when he's like, why would you let him leave? Let him leave, but at least keep his car. He's like, no, he's a good man, and he honored his word. Oh, That's why. Okay.
So they filled it up. Right.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, that's a lot of freaking gasoline. And cars don't blow up like that. It's not a thing.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the future.
Oh,
I mean, you're concerned about the cars not blowing up like that. Look what's going on. How people address what's going on, and they have nitro. So I mean, come on.
So Max looks horrible, dude. They get him back there. Who brings him back? A copter, right? Oh yeah,
yeah.
Again, 2 times.
Well, again, you don't know how long that guy was. Gyro was sitting in the desert. So I think he just considers Max his friend. It's probably the first person he's seen in like months. So he's like, again, he's the only one that gave him the time of the day.
That would have been like more of a buddy thing. That would have been really funny if he said that, like, "Hey, best bud, how you doing? I got you some tea and some Vegemite."
But no, he's loyal, this guy, and he easily could have gotten away. But I also think that he got accepted right away with the other place, and now he's got a girlfriend. So you know what? He's like, yeah, let me stay.
Yeah, and then so everybody's waiting for Max to wake up, and they're all waiting outside. So this guy gets up, and he looks like shit. Hey, dude, his left side of his body, eyes barely open, and then why the hell would they be okay with this guy driving?
Again, it's a dangerous mission. He's already half dead, so you might as well just throw him out there.
And then we'll reveal what happens. Then it kind of like makes a little bit of sense.
It does. And you know what? I was a little confused at first when that happened. I was
very confused.
Yeah, and then I'm like, what just happened? We'll get to that, but now that you say that, now it totally makes sense.
I'm still confused because we'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Yeah,
because that made no sense. But
I think it does. But we'll get there. But I think so. But I'm thinking like again, they why put someone of our own in a risky situation? Let's throw Max there. But with the reveal, it makes sense why they did it.
Yeah, that's true. So one part that was like it kind of happens in a little bit, but I'll mention it because it doesn't have to do it with the final scene. But how when the three goons go into the fortress, which I don't know why they would go there because they knew they were all gone already, but they go in there while everybody else is chasing the other people driving away. And when they go in there, it blows up. So that seemed like there was a lot of gas still there.
Right.
It took out only 3 guys.
Well, the tanker didn't look that big to hold all the gas they had. Like, you know, when he says, I have a truck that could take it, I'm thinking this massive thing. It really wasn't as big as I thought it would be.
Yeah. And I don't know how long that would last, but I guess enough to get out of there. But so this, you know what, this movie, when they showed the cars line up for the final scene, like when they're getting ready to go and Lord Humongous' gang is like the car one by one going up. God, it reminded me of Twisted Metal. It was like all the cars had these little cool, quirky things to them. Like the one car's, how about the guy that was the leader, the Papa Ganol or whatever his name is? His car looked like the ambiguously gay dude. It did. Silver. It looked like a big penis. And I'm like, why is this guy driving a penis?
Doesn't Twisted Metal have a whole bunch of weird characters?
Yeah.
So I wonder, do you think it's based on like Mad Max?
Sort of. There are some guys. The guy that, you know what? There is a guy that's like a rip-off Max.
Yeah.
Max that is in the same kind of car. Yeah.
Interesting.
Those bastards. So tall guy, coolest part of the movie is when he starts dropping napalm on everyone. Dude, he was so awesome from there. He was I didn't think he would be the hero.
I want to know, how much weight can that thing hold?
Well, it barely holds him because it doesn't even look like there's a seat.
That's what I'm saying. So, I can't imagine holding that much weight to do everything it's been doing. I mean, I guess, you know, thank goodness it can hold that weight. You know, he saved the day. But yeah, does he become the new general?
I think he is the general. I think when the general dies, he has to wear his clothes for the rest of eternity.
I think he's happy to get close. Again, he's running around in his underwear the whole time. So, you know.
I'm telling you, the one part I'm like, because his pants or whatever he was wearing, he was wearing
long john. It was almost like the onesie long johns.
Yeah, but they were brown because they were like.
Well, I think they were white at one point and then they became brown.
Because I'm telling you, one part when they showed him from behind, I'm like, is this guy naked just wearing a leather? He's wearing a leather bathrobe.
Well, he was probably the last one to go through the thrift shop. So they had was a jacket. And so he's like, oh, listen, you got to wear your underwear, but, you know, we'll give you a jacket. That's all that's left.
That's so awesome. And so the guy on the back, dude. So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but when Wes is chained up and he's like screaming, and then Lord Humongous finally lets him go, and he's like going batshit crazy. So when they're chasing the tanker, it's the mechanic on top towards the back wearing, do you see what he was wearing? He was wearing like a black vest that had studs on it.
Yep.
Again, bondage store. Women warriors in the back, but the guy that was in the very, very back, I don't even know if he had any lines in the movie, but he was wearing like the same outfit as Woman Warrior. Dude, when they throw that friggin' grappling hook and it hooks his leg, oh my God, the pain.
Yeah.
Because the car, to rip that, they slammed the brakes on that car that did that. And dude, then like an explosion happened and that guy was done.
Well, in one of these scenes, in real life, the stunt guy that gets thrown somewhere, he broke his leg in the middle of, he almost died. Like there's a scene where
the stunt guy that I wrote down that was like flipping.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
And that was a real, like that wasn't a dummy. And supposedly like he had a bad crash. He totally broke his leg. And like they said, like he was lucky even just to be alive. I mean, that was a crazy stunt they did.
Holy shit. No, when I saw that part, I was like, how the frig is this guy?
Yep.
Given like, it didn't even look real. I was like, was that like a dummy? Was that the dummy from Police Academy 6? Oh my God. So where are we at now?
We're at the big chase at the end. That's it. This is where basically half the characters die.
Oh, and this is the first time that I noticed that the mechanic was not a paraplegic. So on the back of the thing, he's like, I'm thinking he's going to be pretty badass. He drops a Molotov cocktail on his feet. And then Woman Warrior, the hot smoking broad that she is, she goes to help him when he's on fire. And he even says like, oh no, it's okay. I'm okay. And his hand is on fire, clearly.
Yep.
And then she gets shot by Wes with 3 darts right in the stomach.
Yep. Yep. That's, again, they I'm assuming they seem like a group of people that really don't go to war too often.
Yeah.
So I think it's like that's probably the first time they ever had the cocktail. They ever probably shot a gun or whatever. They probably don't even drive. They probably just stand around, hoarding the gas. So, I'm not surprised that half of them all die. Did the general die?
I don't know. No, General did not die. No,
he made it on the bus.
No, all the other people were on the bus. It was really just Woman Warrior. She died, which sucked. How about the fact that? So this is crazy because she was clearly dead. I thought it was gonna be one of those like
one last shot or something.
Yeah, she comes, shoots somebody to save.
Yeah.
But how about the fact that the bad guys come up and they want her body? And it's weird because you don't see where her body goes, but you see the mechanic when they pull him out. He goes right to the ground. But I really thought they like took her body and threw her in the car. You didn't see her body go anywhere. You just saw his fall on the ground. But I was like, man, they're fucked up. She's dead. What is she going to do?
Maybe they can eat her.
They could eat. Oh, you know what? What do they eat?
If
he's eating dog food?
Right. And listen, if you had a choice to eat any of the people that you just killed, she'd be number 1 on the list.
She would be number 1. Yeah. That's awesome. So, and then the next line I wrote, the few of the stunts were wild. One guy looked like he was flying through the air. Looked dangerous.
He broke his leg. And he's lucky that's all he broke. I mean, based on that, man.
Yeah. God, and then, so this one, the whole gang boards it. So it's just Max and Feral Kid. That's the only 2 people on board with, the most precious thing that they own, the gasoline. And dude, this whole ending scene, so awesome.
And they didn't even wear seatbelts.
No, they didn't.
They didn't wear seatbelts.
Maybe they don't have to wear seatbelts. Oh, you know what? Don't have to worry about getting a ticket. No cops. No cops.
Well, there were some cops. I mean, look at your bottom right corner. You have the. But he also he wasn't afraid to send the 8-year-old kid to do a lot of like risky stuff.
Yeah, dude, that made no sense. And he's like, grab that bullet.
Yeah,
like,
on a fast moving truck. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then Wes was waiting for him there. How about that when the guys are on top shooting through? Wes, dude, and then Wes with the grappling hook throws it in and almost like hooks Max. He gets out of the way, it just rips the door off, and he's just laughing at him. God, man, he's so badass.
Did you think Wes died the first time? Like, you think he would?
No, I think the villain always comes back. Because honestly, I didn't know who was going to be. He had more of an interaction with Max and those people. So I thought he was obviously going to be the main person at the end. Because I just didn't see Lord Humongous being the final like boss, so to speak. Which would have been cool because we didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
If it was like Mel and him fighting,
like a Busey and Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon, that would have been awesome. Right? See, I feel like the ending with those 2 guys was kind of lame.
Because here's one thing I'm going to say, and you could say, "Oh, Doug, they did this thing, you didn't see it," but how the hell was Lord Humongous that far? He was behind them because you remember what he had? He had those cool like tridents.
Right.
Pulling off his car and throwing. And then out of nowhere, he's in front of them by like a half a mile.
And he didn't see them either. Like he didn't see, like it's just the way that whole thing happened. Just, I don't know. It was almost like they're running out of time to finish the movie and they just have to just end it. Like, because I expected, like I said, a bigger battle. Like it's just like a 1-on-1 kind of like, something.
We wanted it just like we wanted Sadler Willis. Why could that? That movie obsessed me so much because you had such a cool opportunity and they fought for the wing on the wing for 2 minutes. Or not even 2 seconds, 2 punches. He goes inside and that's it. Just like this. That would have been cool to have him fight Wes maybe. Or maybe the same thing. Not crash into Lord Humongous. Crash into somebody else. The tanker's over. And then Lord Humongous is there.
Yeah, I was going to say they're both laying on the ground. They both realize, and then something. But he didn't even kill either one of them. Lord Humongous killed them both. I mean, it's just so stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. That was
Yeah.
So now we can talk about it because they crash. Okay. So Wes is on the front of the car. Lord Humongous is down the road. They crash into each other. Big explosion. And
so did Lord that's was he like? Did he know what was like? You see this big tanker with gas. What was he trying to accomplish?
I don't know. Maybe he hit the knots by accident, or because the way the speed happened, it just seemed like he should have known. And he was behind them.
Yeah, I know.
Before
I know.
Because he threw it into the Papadopoulos. Oh my God, dude, that part was great. Because Papadopoulos or whatever, which I know it's not his name, but he's like going to the feral kid. He's like, jump. It's like, jump. Yeah. Dude, they're going like 100 miles an hour. You want this kid to jump and try to land the thing, and then he throws the trident. Jason throws it. I can't get over that. I would love to. Now I have to go back and watch Friday the 13th, part 3.
It's totally his hair and his bald head. There's his round bald head. I mean, it's it. But yeah, so now they crash.
Yeah, the tanker's flipped on its side, and you're like, oh my God. And then I think it's even starting. I think Max gets up and realizes the cap's off, and it's just dirt.
It's sand.
Oh, sand, yeah.
Yep.
And like, to me, now I'm like, okay, so how the hell they wanted to take all the gas? That was the most important thing. I know the most important thing now that we know that they wanted to get all the women and children,
right,
and elderly, like out of there. So how much gas do they have? Because they didn't have another tanker. They showed the bus at the end. And,
yeah, well, where was the gas? Or you know what? Maybe they didn't care about the gas, and they just wanted to get them out of there. And you know what? Now that I think about this, so they obviously set Max up.
Yeah.
Right. That's why he probably wanted the little kid to jump.
Oh.
I just thought of that. So that's probably why he was trying to get him out of the truck, because he knew, there was nothing there.
That's shitty. I wonder if everybody was in on that, because no, I bet you they weren't. I bet you Woman Warrior, and they didn't, maybe only Papadopoulos knew, because Woman Warrior, she was there like defending this thing. Like it was like really, obviously she would do it anyway because she didn't want to die. But
right.
Just before that, do you remember when she says to Max, she's like, sorry, I was so mean to you the first time. You're my respect. And I'm like, that's really cool. And then this shit happens to both of them. So how about this? We didn't mention it before. So he's dropping more napalm and he crashes. Okay. Right. He crashes. It cuts.
I thought he was dead. I thought he was like, he died a hero.
Of course he died.
Yeah.
Why? How could he survive that? He gets shot by Lord Humongous.
Yeah.
Lord Humongous shoots him. And then like 5 minutes later.
And again, he's got napalm on his helicopter. So you're crashing. That's not going to explode.
That is true. But when we saw him at the end, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Fuck?
Yeah.
So Max is the detour. And then so at the end of the movie, I didn't even realize that he was an adversary. The only thing I heard at the end was the fact that he said, I became the leader, right?
Yeah. When I first heard that, I don't know who, like, I still wasn't putting two together, but it was the kid. And I think that's a pretty good twist, that the kid was like, became the leader, but it doesn't explain how he talks like a scholar now from grunting the whole movie. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was kind of confusing, but and then I love, because I left it playing at the end of the movie. I don't know how long you left it on. It's not like I was watching it, but it said exit music.
Oh, did it really?
The very last thing, it said exit music. So,
well, again, dog, gyro, like, they really just ran out of ideas. I think a lot of this movie was probably improv,
Yeah.
And I think they just made it up. I think the director said, listen, go out there and, telling Wes to go out there and scream and do whatever you want to do. And, just maybe the stunts were only the thing that were choreographed.
I wonder how many lines, like if they did like minutes of dialogue, is this movie?
15 minutes. I mean, really, there really was. I mean, there was it was just all music. I mean, and give the guy credit, because the music fit well. I mean, and the music kept it going. But yeah, I can't be more than 15 minutes, really.
Whoever the Brian May is, you did a hell of a job. So that was Mad Max 2. Jamie.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it's definitely, it's you could, compared to movies today and action movies, it's dated. It is dated, but so ahead of its time for when it came out that it still holds water. And if no one's ever seen it, I think, it's totally worth watching, even without watching the first one or even the new one, because the new one was pretty cool. Did you see Fury Road?
Nope.
It's actually pretty cool. It's actually good action, but it's very different to this one.
Is Woman Warrior in the new one?
No, but it is Charlize Theron.
I like her.
And she plays a badass. Like, yeah, she's awesome. So if you like her, it's pretty good. And it's what's his name? The guy that played Venom.
Tom something?
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, whatever. Tom something. So, but you know what? The movie was great. And listen, you can't talk 80s without thinking of, Vernon Wells. And the role that he had in this movie, to me, was cooler than Mad Max. Like, he had the best role in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So it's totally worth watching.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't think a lot of the movies that we see, I get because the way movies look nowadays, it's like the term dated. But I think for this, it's so ahead of its time from then because visually it looks so cool, the dystopian future where they filmed. And now they, in fact, you told me they shot in 16 days?
Something like that, yeah. And like I said, yes, it is dated, but for that time, it's so ahead of its time, Yeah. And I think it might have done, if I read correctly, either the first one or second one did better than Star Wars, like opening weekend or something like that.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, for this movie, it did very well.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think this is our highest Rotten Tomatoes score of a sequel. Easily, right?
I don't know. Would Die Hard, maybe Die Hard get anything?
No, I don't think Die Hard 2 had that high, but maybe Caddyshack 2 had that.
I was thinking either that or Son of the Mask, Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this movie is great. And I would say this is, rarely do we get a movie that the sequel's better than the first movie. This is one of them.
Yeah, no. So that's it. That's Mad Max 2. So the next movie that we're going to be covering is a horror classic. It basically threw out all the sequels that were made to it and basically said they never happened. And then this is the sequel that we're going to be covering. It's Return to Sleepaway Camp. It came out in 2008. We were lucky enough to interview Mike Marino. So some people will be like, oh, who's Mike Marino? A lot of the guys behind the scenes you're not going to know. But, man, when you guys see his IMDb, the work that he's done, just the thing that he's working on currently, he's working on The Batman. And we talked about that. He's working on the Penguin makeup for Colin Farrell. And he's done True Detective. Man, just such a cool guy. Everything he's worked on. He does all Heidi Klum's Halloween costumes. And he's from Jamie's neck of the woods, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no. You look at his the work he's done. Forget the IMDb. Just look at it, like even his Instagram. See all this makeup stuff. It's very cool. It's very cool. And
he was one of the coolest guys. The conversation was like just two bros thrown out. It was cool. I really had a blast talking to him. So Return to Sleepaway Camp, Mike Marino, and don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.